this morning. We're sorry we are coming on a little behind the schedule. Don't worry, we will ensure that we fill those gaps, or the gap that you think we've missed. Yes, Citizens Forum this morning, as the fight against corruption of the federal government begins to get some ratings from different quarters. Well, it depends on how you view it. It depends on what you think government has done, the present administration has done in tackling this corruption. That's when you know which of the position or the argument you want to stand with. Those who say they've done something, those who believe they've not done anything, and there are some who feels that this is a selective fight against corruption. Well, there appears to be a dent. Again, that depends on your interpretation of the event from the court judgment that came from Ekiti, stopping the EFCC from investigating any government now, not just the Ekiti government, even though it was the Ekiti State government that went to court. But now they have said to EFCC, you cannot investigate any government. As far as that government, you can only do so if after the House of Assembly permits you to go ahead with that investigation. Well, that throws another debate, angle of debate into that issue about the fight against corruption. Will this not aid those who are in government and are perceived to be very corrupt? Is it not a slight on that fight? And of course, the Choga war by the current administration that has been able to fight corruption. This is what we'll be looking at this morning on the Citizens Forum. Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM, the voice of the people. Dele, Ayodo is my name.
And I am Tobi Joseph. Just like Dele said, this declaration was made in a judgment delivered in a suit filed by the Ekiti State Government against the EFCC, the Inspector General of Police IG, and the Speaker, Ekiti State House of Assembly, the Clerk, and 13 others. The State Attorney General filed a suit after the Commission sent letters of invitation to some government officials seeking details about some financial transactions of the state. The EFCC also sent letters to the banks seeking financial books of the state in their custody. Justice Taiwo held that financial institutions are not entitled to submit or release to or any manner whatsoever to disclose to any person, body, or agency, including EFCC and IG, or any other investigating body, any document, financial records, among others. He cited sections 128 and sections 129 of the 1999 Constitution. The court also averred that the EFCC cannot usurp the oversight functions vested in the State Assembly or initiate a probe or criminal proceedings against a state official. What does this mean? I think we need legal interpretations. Is this not setting a precedent which makes it almost difficult or impossible that state governors, whether they are in power or they leave power, would be investigated for any misdemeanor, for any criminal activity, or even for any financial corruption trial? Well, these are the issues we want to look at this morning. These sections are cited by the judge. Sections 128, sections 129 of the 1999 Constitution are severally amended. Does this corroborate this claim and judgment by Justice Taiwo? We have a legal luminary in the House, a learned fellow, in person of Patrick Iwu, the former chairman of the NBA, Nigerian Bar Association Abeokuta Branch. He should be able to help us out this morning. You're welcome once again.
Thank you very much, and good morning, listeners.
Tobi, I think it's also important to remind the listeners that the EFCC has not too long ago told us they are investigating 27 of the state governors. 27. So, what will this mean on that investigation of the EFCC?
The investigation, well, the EFCC, they have the right to investigate, but then it has to, well, one has to now determine what they are investigating. You know one thing, we are in a federal setup, and that federal setup entails that, see, states have some, the Constitution has given states some measure of autonomy, which the federal government or any of its institutions cannot willy-nilly intervene. So once these things are there, the EFCC or any other body for that matter cannot. And we cannot, because we want to fight corruption per se, will now start contravening the provisions of the Constitution.
No, sorry, again, let me understand it. So the EFCC cannot, we are not talking about prosecution now.
Yes.
Just investigating if they suspect, if they have some
probe. No, look, let us look at that judgment within its context. Now, first and foremost, there is this sanctity about the judgment of a court. Once the court has given this judgment, that is the law. That is the law, and nobody. All we can do is, well, by way of our own opinion. Having said that, now the judge said, Justice Taiwo, fortunately, in fact, he was a barman to the court and former MBA vice president before that appointment. So, well, we know his background to that extent. Now, he said they cannot, EFCC cannot probe state finances without. So, it's not an open, this is that they cannot. He said they cannot probe state finances without a report of indictment from state houses of
now, those who are worried about this judgment will use this experience coming from the different states and believe that many of the members of the House of Assemblies are stooges, appendages of the incumbent, and therefore we only do what he wants them to do. So if you have a governor who is believed to be flipping, and then all the boys, so to say, quote, as they call them in the assembly, are his. So they're not likely to do anything, so they may go away with those crimes.
Unfortunately, yes. That is the predicament we have found ourselves in this country today. Not just all the 36 states, no exception. All the 36 states, no exception. Now, we know the processes by which these honorable members get into the Houses of Assembly. Of course, you know, without the nod of the incumbent state governor, you will find it difficult. Although there has been exceptional cases where one or two go there without the consent, and everybody knows the consequence. Okay, but then the thing is, in great majority of these cases, the state governor, in fact, the state governors are the lords. They lord it over the judiciary, they lord it over the legislature. So let us not make pretenses about this thing. Let us not start playing the ostrich. These things exist.
So where would this leave EFCC? All the things have been removed now. Is that not the situation?
No, it hasn't. All what he's saying now is a clear call. Now on the citizens. Now if you say power belongs to the people, well, this is now the time for the people to start raising issues. Okay, now do what you are supposed to do. Of course, the provisions of of the Constitution being referred to by the judge is there. Anybody who picks a copy of the Constitution like the one before me now, section 1281, says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, a House of Assembly shall have power by resolution published in its journal or in the official gazette of the government of the state to direct or cause to be directed an inquiry or investigation into any matter or thing with respect to which it has power to make laws. B, the conduct of affairs of any person, authority, ministry or government department charged or intended to be charged with the duty of responsibility for executing or administering laws enacted by. So the thing is, the court is saying, look, EFCC, you cannot do this until this is done. Now, in any case, that is the judgment of the federal.
So what is the need then for EFCC? Then I think we should just give those assignments to other post-security agencies who have the authority to investigate.
Don't get it wrong here. It's not the EFCC, not even the police. Even the police, they cannot do it. They cannot circumvent this provision of the Constitution. Not even the DSS or any other. Any other, not EFCC, it's not directed at EFCC per se. Any other. You cannot do it unless the state houses of assembly has done what they are supposed to do. Otherwise, you will be seeing a situation where the government at the center, if they don't like the face of any particular governor, they will set EFCC out against you. And we've seen it's been happening. But just as those states been keeping quiet. or for whatever reasons, they've not been standing up to their own responsibility. Well, I'll give it to that. I'll give that to Governor Ayodo. Much as I don't like his antics and everything, but then, this is a man that can stand on his own any day. Now, if the EFCC does not like it, if the federal government does not like the judgment, if anybody does not like it, well, let them appeal.
Well, there's no information that anybody is making any move to appeal.
That judgment. Pending the time the Court of Appeal will set it aside, that remains the law.
But well, the EFCC has actually reacted. They are saying that they are confident that the court's judgment on this case, EFCC versus Fauci, cannot stand. Well, the EFCC spokesman Wilson Owajale said the commission is set to prove that it has the powers to investigate state finances. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction is, well, that's his opinion. If he cannot stand, that is his opinion. Let them do the needful. Let him go on appeal. Let the EFCC successfully appeal against this judgment. Now, for now, that is the law.
But before then, to you as a lawyer, what will be the effect of this? We've been told by EFCC that a high number of our governors are being investigated. So what will be the effect of this on the performance of EFCC and then the war against corruption?
Let me say this. EFCC, they have been singing this song for time immemorial now, from 1999 about when I think the first Nuhu Ribadu was telling the whole world, virtually all the governors in the state were corrupt, blah, blah, blah. Since those governors left office, how many of them have been successfully prosecuted? How many?
But the fact that some of them have been prosecuted,
how many? How many?
So there are some, even if it's just one out of the 36, or the bunch that have left, that have been prosecuted, that to some people is a deterrent.
My own opinion is this. You see, if we want to fight corruption, we will make up our mind we want to fight corruption. If we want to fight, use the EFCC to settle some political scores, well, that would be very unfortunate. And that is what we've been doing. Okay? Now, if EFCC wants to fight corruption, they know what to do. Okay? They know what to do. They know what to do to get the members of the House of Assembly to do the needful.
All right, yes, with a special short code, keep sending them 32120. That's the number to send those messages to. As soon as they come in, we will take them. We have with us lawyer Patrick Iwu, former MPA chairman. We are taking reaction or examining that judgment from Ekiti, stopping EFCC or any other agency of government from investigating state governments when it comes to issue of suspicion to corruption.
Now, you yourself said that many of these state governors are lords over the legislative and judicial arms in their respective states. Now, are we not hiding behind a finger if the Constitution is now, in a way, protecting the governors from prosecution or probe or investigation, as it were, if you are saying that it is only the State House of Assembly that you also agree are also subjected to the whims and caprices of these governors, they are the only ones that can investigate? How will a speaker and principal officers or the members of the House of Assembly who are errand boys, in quotes, to the governor begin to probe the same governor?
Good. Let us start looking at it from this angle. We are talking of constitution here, isn't it? And then look at the what it is, it preamble to the constitution. We, the people of Federal Republic of Nigeria, we gave to ourselves this constitution. Even though many people will not agree. They said it was handed over to us by the military. Fine. Since 1999, we've made attempts at amending. So that particular portion and everything has not been amended. So it is we, the people, that have given it to us. So if we, the people, have given access to this constitution, can we now sit back to circumvent it? If you ask me, the answer is no. Good. Now, the thing is, having found ourselves in this situation, what do we do? Ordinarily, the constitution itself provides an answer. Okay, now even that answer itself cannot be done because these governors are so powerful. In fact, if you ask me, the problem of this country today is not even that of presidency or the president, but the governors. And when I mean governors of the 36 states of the Federation. No exception.
You've asked that question. Now, pending the time when this judgment will be set aside,
yes,
what can be done? What can we
do? The only thing we can do is to, well, the electorate should insist. Not the kind of insist on electing their people of their choices. The party members should stop, or if there's a way to check these governors from imposing candidates on them. Until that is done, we'll be rigmarole. And tell me, name one president of Federal Republic of Nigeria from 1999 that has given effect or the willingness to give effect to the provision of the Constitution. None. That is the problem. None.
So that means effectively the state governors or government now, like the can they just operate on their own without fear of the usual?
Of course, they are doing it.
From the federal
yes, they are doing it. They are doing it.
Doing what?
They are operating as if nothing will happen and nothing is happening. Okay. Mind you, they have attorney generals who study the provisions of this constitution. Mind you, they have lawyers who advise them. Mind you, they have all the money too. Mind you, they have all the state power to coerce.
You've used some section of the constitution to defend your position, but there are also people who believe that this is what they call it political judgment. What's your own position on this too?
Well, that will be their own opinion. In my own opinion, this is not a political judgment. I started by saying that even starting from the learned justice, Taiwo, starting from him, okay, I started with the judge himself. This is somebody we all know. Most of us will know him. So we cannot say this is a political. And mind you, this is coming from a federal high court, not a high court of justice of Ekiti State, a federal high court. So in which case the government of Ekiti has no control whatsoever. Assuming all the state high court judges of the high court are under Ayo Fayoshi. What do you say the federal high court judge? Is he under him?
Before now, the federal government, the executive arm of government have complained that the judiciary are not cooperating with them in their fight against corruption. They've cited examples of this kind of judgments and other positions the judiciary have taken. Would this not further separate these two arms of government?
It will not. Yes, the federal government, yes, the president, I've heard him, I watch him on television, President Buhari, are blaming the judiciary. Have you listened to the judges themselves? Unfortunately, the judges cannot talk. If the judges open their mouth, you will discover that the executive themselves are part of the problem.
How are they part of the government?
Because some of these cases are not properly investigated. The police, for instance, is under the executive arm. You just wake up, you rush somebody you don't like the face to court. Now it is after arraigning him, you now go and start fishing for evidence to prosecute. And what do you want the judge to do? These are the problem.
Now let's also link this with the immunity clause, section 308.
Yes.
If this is removed, what would be the direct correlation between that removal of the immunity law and this kind of judgment position of the judiciary on investigating this people?
Remove immunity, don't remove immunity, it's not going to change anything. Because if with the immunity there, okay, and then these governors serve, the moment they leave office, they go to Senate, where they sleep most of the time.
You said so.
I'm saying it. Yes, I'm saying it. We watch, we see all these things. They go to Senate, but just name the Senate now consists of most ex-governors. Okay, then do they have immunity? They don't. What has EFCC been doing? If EFCC have been doing what they ought to do with those, then we can now start thinking it's okay. Since you have been working effectively with the kind of, then what do we do with serving? If with ex-governors, you cannot do anything. Has OBJ been probed? OBJ was in office eight good years. Ex-president. He has not been probed. Despite all allegations of corruption against his government flying left, right, and center. He has not been probed. He is not a sitting-in president. He is not covered by any immunity. But then, between you and me, can anybody probe him in Nigeria today? Let's be frank with ourselves.
Okay, now, Dr. Ashimi just posted this on our WhatsApp page. He said, I can't remember the details, but there is the case of Delta State. EFCC was investigating Ibori, but the state government insisted that no money was missing. But of course, we all know the story. Ibori pleaded guilty in London and was jailed. If you look at that statement, would you say that we are really ready to fight corruption?
Well, I will be asking you that question now, in view of what the doctor has said. Okay, we saw the case of James Ibori. James Ibori was convicted in Nigeria, for goodness sake. Then when the issue arose, what happened? There was a one James Ibori, and nobody could tag it with this James Ibori. Okay, now the people overseas did what they are supposed to do. Now, after serving his term imprisonment, James Ibori came back to Nigeria as a lord. James Ibori is being celebrated today, even by the press. Wherever he goes, he's well covered. I will not be surprised if tomorrow James Ibori comes out to vie for the president of this country. And well, unfortunately, the thing is, somebody somewhere will now wake up and say, okay, they have granted him amnesty. We've been saying it. The problem is, you cannot just blame one person. The way I look at it, we blame ourselves because we allow some of these things to exist.
Now, let me quickly take you back to Ekiti State. The governor has sponsored a bill for the state to have its own Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The bill has currently passed through the second reading in the Ekiti State House of Assembly. Most likely they will finalize it and then pass it into law, and the governor will also assent to it before he leaves office. Will this be a step in the right direction for the state?
You see, in this part of the world, we are good at making laws, very fine laws, very beautiful laws. That when you read at it, you say, oh, wow. But the problem is, how do we implement them? You see, there are a lot, even under the criminal code as it is. Most of these things he wants to do are there. But the thing is, how many of these people in Ekiti has Dele and his government, with the exception of his predecessor in power, which they have, okay, how many?
32120, that's the short code number. Just type ROCK, you leave a space, send your comment, questions, and forward it to 32120. You can also join us on our Twitter handle at Rockcity FM, the Facebook, and of course on the WhatsApp page. We also welcome your calls, 0809868734 and 0909146967. Daybreak Show, Rock City 11.9 FM. We have somebody. Okay, we have somebody. Morning. Good morning. Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Sorry, Dr. Cole will permit you. You can call back. We can't. The network, the computer, there's a break in many of the things you are saying. Hello. Morning. Somebody, you are on. Good morning. Hello. Okay. Barrister Iwu. Okay, somebody's on. Hello. Morning. Yes, morning. Okay. Lucky you are back. Yes. Yes, clear.
Go ahead.
Dr. Cole, you can make your comment. We'll leave those people out of it, please. leave those names out. Just make your comments out. Yes, please. Alright, you can now use the short code 32120 to conclude your comments. Hello, somebody's there. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Proposed law in the Ekiti where they want to have their own EFCC. It is this same Ekiti State government that went to court to challenge attempt by other agency to investigate them. If you marry this to the position of those who think these are political moves, what would the state EFCC or whatever be doing?
Good. Assuming it's set up, the state EFCC will be working within those on legislative list where they can make law. Okay, the state EFCC will be working.
No, there's a judgment that has said they cannot investigate. Not to talk of.
We are getting it wrong. The judgment said they cannot. The judgment did not say
without the House of Assemblies.
Beautiful.
So why do we then need another investigatory arm?
No, you see, no.
So that is what the state EFCC will
beautiful
be doing.
For whatever it's worth. The state EFCC now will be investigating maybe the local governments within Ekiti State and all that, and perhaps individuals.
Waste of resources, don't you think so?
I don't think so. I don't think so. If they are going to use it effectively. What I'm saying is, you do not need a state EFCC to chase corruption. Even the criminal code that was handed over to us by our colonial masters as far back as 1940, they have some of these provisions. To what extent have we been able to utilize these provisions?
Now, don't you foresee a situation whereby...
Okay, can we take this call?
Okay,
morning.
We have someone. Let's quickly take this. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, your reaction on that right there.
Well, the thing is, if you look at that judgment, you know, the beauty of a judgment of a court is once it's delivered, you may like it, you may not like it. Whether you like it or you don't like it is immaterial. But the thing is, look at what that judgment is saying. Is it correct in law? Is it logic? Read section 130, section 128 and section 129. Then read it together with the judgment and the court, and you see if you can fault that judgment. So the issue of it being political, I do not agree. This is my opinion. And having it coming from a federal court, in fact, it's a big plus for this judgment. Now, the issue of you said something like a state, is it state EFCC? How no, how EFCC can get? Of course, we know how these things are done. You blackmail, though you cannot come to court and say you blackmailed. By the time you start opening the corruption chapter, let me just say this with the example of what happened with I think that was Bill Clinton in the US over this Monica Lewinsky. Now, most people do not know how that matter ended. Why that man was not impeached. See, a lot of those senators went to their office. You go to your office early in the morning, you will see a date and a name.
That reminds you of your own.
Beautiful. You will now go home. Now they now ask you to come and vote. Will you not vote? So we can use that kind of tactic. In any case, we'll be using it here. We cannot pretend. Now, if you want like when some of these governors were so-called impeached, what happened? Go meet all those houses of assembly, open their own chapter of corruption. You will see them taking action. This is my opinion. Thank you.
But would that again not increase the cost of investigation by the EFCC of these new roads that they'll be taking?
Do they properly investigate any matter? What does it take? As if they don't have records of all these things. They have the security reports. It's not there. You just invite them, come. Lagbaja, yes, how are you? Fine. No, where were you? So and so. What happened? So you'll be sweating. By the time you are sweating, you are not. You are asked, what is going on in the state? Do you like it? He will tell you no. Okay. I mean, well.
Obviously, many of the state governments would like this judgment, but like our last caller said, three kinds of judgment: that of posterity, that of God, and of course that of. Is this not a case of 10 steps forward and 100?
It is not. Backward? It is not. It is not personally. Now look at it. Judgment of a court. The judgment will tell you from the evidence before me and the law. Okay, he's not playing God. From the evidence before him, from the law. This is. So if you don't, and this is a court of first instance, so if you don't like it, you go and appeal, for goodness sake. Let the EFCC appeal against that judgment.
Alright, yes, Citizens Forum on the Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM. If you check your time, is approaching 10 o'clock. We must take the 10 o'clock news. After the news, we will be back. Keep sending your messages, 32120. That's the number for the short code, but type ROCK is very important. That will enable us to get it. ROCK, you leave a space, and then your question, comments, your name, and the area in which you are sending from our Twitter handle at Rock City FM. We'll be back after the 10 o'clock news.
So the Citizens Forum on the Daybreak Show this beautiful Thursday morning. We appreciate you for staying tuned. What are we looking at this morning? We're looking at that landmark court ruling that came out of the Ekiti State Federal High Court, in which the EFCC, the IG, and about 8 others were defendants, and the Justice Tabo-led court ruled that the EFCC has no power to actually probe or investigate the state finances. And so we are looking at this vis-a-vis the anti-corruption law and the provisions of the Constitution as regards this. We have in the studio the former chairman of the NBA Abeokuta Branch, lawyer Patrick Iwu. In case you have questions for our guests, you can start sending them to 32120, or you have to restore type rock, leave a space, type your message, include your name, and send to 32120. You can also tweet at Rock City FM is the Twitter handle. You can post your comment on our Facebook page, Rock City FM 101.9. We have this short message here from Abdul Rashid Okela. Can we now see the challenges this government is facing from the judiciary? Our lawmakers and looters are now winning in court, so we should expect more coalitions to be formed by senators very soon. So they will get immunity. Corruption is indeed fighting back. Many looters will have their money back. God save this country, because looters have taken control. Alright, this one says, Nigerians are not ready to fight corruption, so long there is no check and balance in our legislature. Burupi from Ilerian sent in that one. Ikechukwu Lisa says, I have said it times with that number that we need to sit down and write another constitution if we want to get it right. Because the constitution we are running with is a fake constitution that must be wiped away. Sir, are you saying that EFCC cannot probe the state governors even when the federal government release funds for them to pay workers' salary and they divert it or refuse to use it for that purpose? You want to quickly react to that? No.
Yes. In view of Section 128, the EFCC cannot. And you know, the unfortunate thing was that when this constitution was being drafted, well, there was this assumption that the institutions were going to run the way they are expected to run. So I think, and again, in any case, even if you produce 10 new constitutions, these clauses are very, very necessary. Otherwise, the federal government will be overloading the states unnecessarily. So it's a check on the federal government imposing its will or whatever over the states. Now, if you want the federal, all these things to investigate your state, let the House of Assembly pass that resolution, empowering us. In other words, let the State Assembly invite the federal to come and do this thing. That is all he's saying.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Is that why he's biased? Tell us why he's biased.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, Mr. Olakule. You see, the thing is, I'm a lawyer by training, and we are talking about the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I didn't draft that Constitution, so it's my own duty as a lawyer, and in fact, even your own duty as a citizen of the country to protect this Constitution. So, having said that, you see, if we are protecting it, we are not being biased. Even the judgment of the court, where Mr. Taiwo says it's possible, that judgment has been maneuvered. I cannot rule it out. Underline, I said, it may be possible. It may be possible, but you see, the beauty of the system is you get this judgment at the court of a first instance. You don't like it, you go on appeal. In any case, the court of appeal that will even entertain this matter is even sitting also in Ekiti. So if the 3 justices there are also maneuvered, and whoever wins there does not like it, he goes over now to the Supreme Court at Abuja, and the 5 justices there are also maneuvered, well, we'll now leave the case to God.
At least that becomes the judgment.
That becomes it. But no, as it is, that judgment becomes that's a law until it is set aside. It's a law. It is a law.
All right. Okay. Hello, somebody. Morning. 32120. Morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead. Yes, you've asked me a question, and that is subjective, okay? Now, if I'm the governor of Ekiti State and I want to fight corruption, and I want to sincerely fight corruption, I do not need a state EFCC because the laws are there. Even, I want to give you one instance, even at the time, even when NBA in this state was fighting for autonomy for judiciary, we never knew that there's been a 1983 law passed by the nation granting autonomy to the judiciary. But the thing is, nobody has been able to give effect to it. Talk about laws, my brother. We have very fine, beautiful laws in this part of the world. but how many have we been able to implement?
Messages?
All right, so this tweet from billionaire Jishafe says, Magu does not have the moral and legal right to probe anybody. Magu was outrightly rejected by the Senate. The EFCC can be likened to enemy of the state. My take is federal government and state governors should be probed by the court and not EFCC. Okay, we have this short message from Dr. Tokes, the headmaster. I've listened to Barrister Iwu. My question is this the best democracy can offer or a Nigerian defect? What's the way out? All right, this one says judiciary is an obstacle of Nigeria's moving forward. The role is put on the executives, legislative, and indeed the citizenry should be put on checks. But reverse is the case in Nigeria. Unjustified adjournment upon adjournment of a clear criminal and fraudulent case till eternity. Ex-governors, other corrupt officials have taken donkey years, but no judgment yet. Nobody has been brought to book. Reasons others continue to loot. God have mercy on our corrupt judges and lawyers in the land. And they sent in that message. God will save Nigeria from corruption, but they from Obantoko sent in that. Your reaction?
Yes, let me start with the issue of adjournment and upon adjournment in the judiciary and this whole blame on the judiciary. Let me start by saying, one, I'm not PRO of the judiciary, okay? Now, two, you see, the judiciary is an open place, and in fact, I would love it if most citizens can make out the time, go to the court and watch proceedings and see what is happening there. Three, I want to now use the case of former governor of this state, who is on trial before Justice Mabekoja in court 3. People could, yes, Otunbagben Daniel. Now, there has been series of adjournment on adjournment and adjournment, yes. But what is the reason for those adjournments? EFCC. EFCC coming to court, we can procure our witnesses. EFCC coming to court, we can procure our witnesses. What do you want the judge to do? You want the judge to just wake up and strike out the matter? Then you people will now go at home and be having a bottle of beer over the years that the judge was settled. You see, these are the things. We can stay there in our sitting rooms, in our bedrooms, and oh, the judges, the judiciary adjournments. Come to the court and find out why cases are being adjourned. Most cases, it is the litigants and or their counsel, in which I am one. It's only on very few occasions you see the court not sitting for, well, some explicable reasons. So most of these adjournments are at the instance of the litigants, at the instance of their counsel. So let us leave the judiciary out of this. Yes, they have that. I'm not saying that we have the best of the best judiciaries that is available. The judiciary has its own fault. Okay, they are not angels. But this issue of adjournment, they cannot be crucified. Now, having said that, the issue of the Constitution, see, the Constitution is the creation of man. Okay, and you cannot be the creation of man. Well, it's bound to have its own flaws. Okay, our own constitution is a very, I've been saying it. We have one of the finest constitution, federal constitution in the world. But the problem is, those who elect to power, do we have that political will to implement it? If you ask me, this particular provision 128 and 129, they are very essential in a federal setup. You see, everywhere, yes,
they corroborate separation of powers.
Yes, the separation of powers. Otherwise, what stops? Okay, we've seen a situation where police PPRO, for goodness sake, is calling a governor, a sitting governor, that is a dying, a drowning man. A police PPRO calling a sitting governor of a state. Then one can now imagine if they had that kind of power, what police would have been doing to the governor. So these are the kind of things we have. The Constitution is guiding against a situation where the federal will lord it over the states. So if for any reason the state houses of assembly cannot do what they are supposed to do, you do not blame it on the Constitution. You blame it on the people who allow themselves, who condone these governors imposing candidates. If the people will wake up on very early morning and say, come, no more imposition, It will happen.
Now, this has also brought us, since we are going to get into the electioneering uh, and campaign period very soon. Uh, do you agree that elections into the state and national assemblies are the most important election?
You see, all these things are political gimmicks. Remember, in the beginning, it was in this format in which they want it now. But PDP, for reasons best known to them, altered it. And when they altered it, what happened? They were the first. They were the first victim. So for whatever it is now, APC is in power at the federal. They want to let them do it, and they will also get it.
All right. Okay, can we take more messages, please?
Okay, we have some tweets here. Okay, let's take this short code message first. This one from Ikechukwu Lisa says, Sir, what is the difference between state governors and House of Assembly members? As for me, I see no difference. So what the Constitution asks the FCC to do before investigating state governors is just wasting of time. So let's stop pretending as if we don't know what will happen if the FCC go to the state assembly. Okay. Now to the tweets. This particular one is from Yemi Da Vinci. Brilliant submissions by Barrister Iwu. I don't like Governor identifying his antics and antecedents, but I must commend him for instituting the case that brought his judgment. He has deepened our democracy. Can the proposed state EFCC probe local council affairs? If the federal EFCC can probe state, why should state have powers to probe local government? Full federalism, not tokenism, is what we need. Your reaction?
Well, I think I agree with him completely. Now, well, by the time he sets up the state EFCC, we'll now look at the modalities, we'll now look at the structure on ground, and then, you see, that leads to an important issue, this issue of local government. You will agree with me that local governments in this country, they have been emasculated. By who? By these same governors. In fact, in virtually all the states, you cannot draw a distinction between the state government and the local government. Most of the work the local government are supposed to do, state governments are doing it. I'll give you one particular instance, this issue of signages. That was constitutionally reserved for local government, but the states have stepped into it. Even at a time, I personally challenged, that was during Otumba when they came to my office to remove my signboard. I challenged them. The High Court of this state ruled that they do not have that power. But the thing is, people, when they see some of these things, everybody goes home, you start making prayer points. All these things can't work. We have to stand up and say enough is enough.
Beyond prayer points.
Yeah, beyond prayer points. Enough is enough.
All right, I think we have somebody on the line. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Can you, by any stretch of imagination, any stretch of this, and say President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is an old man?
As at the time he
assumed office, it wasn't. As at the time General Yakubu Gowon assumed office, was he an old man? At what age? I think about 29 or thereabout. At the time General Murtala Mohammed assumed office, at what age? At the time General Obasanjo assumed office, at what age? But you see that the more these youths are coming up, the more, in fact, the corruption becomes scientific. They now add this Yahoo dimension to it, and then what to governance. And this is why we are here we are today. To the extent that even if EFCC wants to investigate, the more you look, the less you see.
Somebody is there. Hello. Thank you. Morning.
Thank you for calling.
Sorry.
Thank you.
No, so that's not. We are not even looking at whether we are looking at. We have a judgment already, sir. All right, thank you. Your 2 minutes. Thank you very much, sir. Hello. Somebody. Good morning, lawyer.
My senior. Thank you, sir. Excuse me.
All right, thank you. No, wow, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you. That's another angle lawyer Bawa has opened to it. We don't have the details of that Ekiti EFCC yet, the lawyer, but if it eventually happens, just like you said, how would they operate? What would they? There's no state police. Would they use their state vigilante to do so, or would they just? I don't know. So that lend credence to again those who believe that these are just mere politicking
Of
and
course,
playing to the gallery.
of course, I agree to that line of thought. Well, nothing stops the state government from passing any law. You can pass any law now that wake up and
There
say,
was the essence of
yeah,
passing a
sure.
law that cannot be
No, no, no,
implemented, that
no,
is not
beautiful,
useful.
beautiful. No, at least for whatever it's worth. Maybe you want to impress yourself, or you want to impress certain people that something is done, or look, this governor is governor of action. Okay, oh, beautiful. Then you pass it and then let us test it. Pass it and let us test it. Now, the man Fola Akiyemi has raised this issue of man-made problem. Definitely. In fact, 99.9% of our problem in this part of the world is they are man-made. But this issue of, we continue to pray. I mean, yes, we have to pray. But at the time now, some of these things are political issues. So we have to take political steps. And what are those political steps? We should start dusting our voting cards.
Sorry, don't let us hold it. Okay, we've lost the call.
We should start dusting our voting.
Okay, there's somebody. Don't let us.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Sam.
Okay. Hello. Whatever the rain means.
He said it all, in all honesty, and I agree with him in total.
All right, EFCC being an extension of the police, and without state police, the Ekiti judgment is dangerous and contestable. Cosmos from People's Center in Abeokuta sent in that. Thank God the man in the studio agreed that assembly members are errand boys to their governors, hence they won't probe governors for wrongdoings. Having agreed with that, how then do we check corrupt governors? Why can't EFCC probe states' corrupt practices when noticed? Should the agency fold hands and watch? EFCC is a national body and should be able to probe local government officers, state, federal, indeed, every sector and individuals in the land. That's Ade sending in that message. Let's quickly go to the tweets now. This one from Yemi Phillips Da Vinci says that state governors have emasculated the legislators doesn't mean that the laws are wrong. Maybe what we should target as a people is to have a legislative arm with half its members from opposition parties. I hope the FCC challenges this ruling up to the Supreme Court level. That way, there will be no ambiguity or doubt. A salient question for the Ekiti government is this: which official will it use to carry out its EFCC investigations? Will they also carry arms? What will happen if the financial impropriety covers more than one state? Okay, those are questions from Yemi Phillips Da Vinci. Akorede Camille says there's no gainsaying the fact that we have a porous constitution. These laws are made to suit some purposes for specific individuals. Since it has become a matter of constitution, there is a limit to how we can argue about this. So let EFCC wait till it's invited by the State House of Assembly for probe. Alright, more tweets. Billionaire Jishafe once again. Corruption is Nigerian culture. Between the ministry and the political class, who is the greatest thief? Don't mind my English, okay? That's Billionaire Jishafe. And this other one says the FCC till now has not probed the IGP after being indicted by the Senate. Or is it because he's not a rank and file officer? Or Burupi from Eliwe sent in that one. You want to quickly react?
Yes, about this Ekiti and enforcement. I think the man has a local made answer for those things. The other time he ordered the local hunters to go and start looking for. So maybe the local hunters might enforce his state EFCC.
All right. Okay. Calls. Hello, somebody.
Let me have this tweet from Akorede Camille. Ekiti judgment has been described as victory for true federalism. Justice Taiwo's judgment, if it stands, and if other states emulate Governor Fauci in setting up their respective states, EFCC, by whatever name they call it, this portends a likelihood that will take the shine of EFCC. Layaru, your reaction and final take.
I agree with them completely, particularly even the last speaker, Matthew. Unfortunately, what he says is just the truth. You see, the way EFCC is going about is as if it's selective. Okay, now Ekiti, what Imo State?
Sorry, lawyer. If you say it's selective, if you are looking at, like I mentioned, a whole number of state governors and governments have been investigated across the different political parties. It's just that it is Ekiti with a different political party from the one at the center that went to court. So would it be right for people to now say, because it's Ekiti that went to court, then to challenge it? That because all the other states are going to benefit from this if the judgment stands.
Now mention those states in which EFCC mention them.
No, you would also agree with that maybe for security reasons they didn't give the names of those states.
Good. Let them EFCC. I challenge them. Let them mention those states. What security reason now are they breaching by picking out Ekiti? Like I said,
it's Ekiti that went to court.
Yes, Ekiti went to court.
It was Ekiti's reaction to the invasion.
Beautiful. Yes, state government. I for one, I'm not a great fan of Ayodo. I've said it times to that number. Okay, but he has done the right thing, going to court. Now, and that is where I have issues with this Maeti Allah, this cattle brother. Yes, yes. Now, do you, the Benue State government and some other states passed anti-grazing law? What do? Do you take the laws into your hands, start killing people? Why don't you go to court to challenge that law? Why can't somebody challenge that law?
Even can the federal government, even the police, can the police not challenge that kind of law?
The federal government can.
Let's assume the federal government did not. What about the NPF, the Nigerian police? Can't they challenge when they see that this law is going to bring this kind of problem?
The police cannot.
Okay,
that's beyond their powers.
I see. So it's only the federal government.
It's the federal government. Or even the cattle breeders themselves can. Come, you are breaching our fundamental human right to graze. Why can't they do such things instead of?
And let the court decide.
And let the court decide. This is what happens in a democracy. For goodness sake.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Patrick Iwu, former chairman NBA Abeokuta. We appreciate you. Thank you for honoring our invitation and bringing justice to the topic.
Thank you for inviting me.
We also want to appreciate every one of you who listened to the show, those who contributed. We appreciate every one of you. Tomorrow, present another opportunity for us to cross-pollinate ideas on these issues. It's the open day segment of the show tomorrow. It starts early at 7 a.m. and of course all the way to 11. Have a wonderful Thursday. My name is Tobi Joseph.
Keep the debate on the different social platforms, provided the WhatsApp and the Twitter, of course the short code. Tomorrow, yes, we'll continue on the open day. Dele Ayodo is my name. I say God bless you all. God bless Nigeria and God bless Rock City.